And with that, I'm going to launch Meet to Tech Talks 2020. And so the theme of this year is LatAm tech investing at the tipping point. And last year we all convened, and some of you were here and some of you weren't, but we were really excited because we saw a year in which investing in tech innovation in the region had doubled from 2017, between 2017 and 2018. And so we thought, wow, this is fantastic. You know, how much faster can we grow? Well, as it turns out, a lot faster. So this last year, 2019, the final figures have not been tallied and reported. We have them through mid-year 2019, but it was a banner year. So we're in exciting times, and we have a great road ahead. And so the start of the morning is going to kind of take a look at why this is, what's happening, what are the new developments in the region that are spurring this on. Obviously, a lot of it are the wonderful entrepreneurs that are coming out of the region, many of which are in this room today, so give yourself a hand for that. But specifically, I don't know where I point this. I don't know about the Wi-Fi network. Anyway, we'll get to that in a minute. They should be paying attention to me right now, unless you're tweeting pictures or notes from my speech. But we started Meet to Tech Talks in 2012. So in 2012, the conversations are really about, can there be a tech innovation ecosystem in Mexico in particular? And LatAm already had some growth, but Mexico at that time was really considered a terrific manufacturer of technology, but not necessarily an innovator of technology. The startup ecosystem was very, very small. Fear of failure and fear of being ridiculed for working for yourself instead of a large corporation was kind of the cultural set point at that time, and things have changed radically from those conversations to where we are today. So in a snapshot, the LatAm region at the close of 2019 was the fastest growing region on a global scale for the second year running. And I'll get this down. So just to take a look at it, now we don't have the final figures for 2019, but at mid-year 2019, we had $2.6 billion invested in tech deals across 160 deals, and that was more than the almost $2 billion that was invested in 2018. Fewer deals, meaning the deal sizes were much larger in 2019. Mexico in particular, for the full year, had 567 million across 120 transactions, which was pretty much double from 2018. So it was a rising star in the region. Venture funding, was more than 5 times the amounts raised in all of 2016, so the pace of this growth is really important to note. And last year, for the first time, we had 11 startups in the region that reached the unicorn status of $1 billion in valuation. We also saw a lot of international VC firms coming into the region for the first time. Some of them had been in Brazil, but not many of them had been throughout the region, and we saw several significant players, including Sequoia and Andreessen Horowitz, make their first investments in Mexico tech companies. And of course, there's SoftBank. So SoftBank was the big news of the year. I mean, basically, that was the year, and this is the reason for the tipping point. So just weeks after last year's Tech Talks, SoftBank announced the Innovation Fund, which was a $5 billion fund dedicated to tech innovation in the LatAm region. Was that coincidence? I'll leave it to you to decide. But anyway, it was huge news, and it reverberated throughout the ecosystem. Everybody started wondering, is this good? Is this bad? Everyone was excited about it because the spotlight was definitively on LatAm tech, and it started investing quite rapidly. Why did SoftBank decide to make this commitment? They gave a series of data points, and we'll share some documents in the app just as I'll share this presentation and some of the source materials for this along with the SoftBank announcement if anyone hasn't read it, or you can Google it. But they looked at the data points in the region, the middle class, the average age, the internet and smartphone penetration and usage, customer behavior, fintech, which is clearly the most exciting and has attracted the most deal flow in the region, because there's such a big need for digitalization of financial services and for extending financial services offerings across more of a consumer base. But you also have transportation, healthcare, education, mobility. So basically, there are a lot of problems to be solved in the region, including, including my clicker. But there are lots of problems in the region, but problems equal opportunities. So this is where we've seen the growth, and this is what makes it so exciting, because unlike solving problems that we have in Silicon Valley, like where can you get a bottle of wine delivered as quickly as possible to your party, we have problems of having the ability to read X-rays or read blood diagnostics in rural areas, or provide education, electricity, solar-powered electricity to schools in rural areas. So we've got lots of problems, which mean we have lots of opportunities. Mexico in particular, that's our focus at MITA. We understand that we're in the big region, but Mexico is what we know best. So in Mexico, the population, the average age is 27. The median age is 27. Half the population is under the age of 30. When you think about that for a minute, just the potential of where we're going. So with this trajectory that we've seen so far, it's only going to get better and stronger. Use of social media, talent, and the cost of starting up is much lower here than it is in Silicon Valley, and that's attracting companies coming from other regions, and also in other parts of LatAm, coming into Mexico to domicile their IT departments. Growth of VC funding, which we've already talked about, top VCs now entering the region, and new developments, improved exit potential. This is something that SoftBank provided. So what SoftBank, VC funds invest because they have the potential to get an exit. We might see a lot of great companies, but unless we feel that at some point in the future you're going to be able to be sold or go public, we can't invest, because the way we return our investors' money is by exiting. So SoftBank in some of their early deals was able to exit earlier VC investments out of the fund. So that's important. Viva, the new stock exchange in Mexico, provides another exit. Interest in China into Mexico as a market is really exciting too. Mexico is also really important to the LatAm equation because of the size of the market. And its base in the middle it sits between LatAm and the US and other world markets, so it's a bridge or a key point for transnational expansion. China, as I mentioned, in the past year, Didi's ride-sharing, OFA, the hotel expansion chain, have all chosen Mexico City as their first international point of expansion globally. That's pretty important. So you look at the entire world, and Mexico City is where they pick to expand. And China's going to be a point of discussion tomorrow. We're going to have a great deep dive into China, how it stands on the global stage, and what it means for the region. So the SoftBank effect is our next topic, and we're going to bring a panel of experts to kind of talk this through a little bit more. What are the pros and cons? SoftBank Vision Fund, which is the larger global fund of $100 billion, is considered probably the most powerful funder in global technology. And their Innovation Fund, the fund dedicated to LatAm, is more money than's ever been invested in the region. The $5 billion are allocating more than has historically been invested in the region. So what does that mean? What do we think? So with that, I would like to invite Tony, Adan, and Aaron up to the stage, and we're going to talk about it.